शक्ति के आज के इस एपिसोड में आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है। आज हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर अनुसुया रॉय। शी इज द फाउंडर एंड सीईओ ऑफ नैनोसेफ सॉल्यूशंस। Welcome, Anasuya. So before we really begin with the interaction, can you tell me about your journey as a female entrepreneur?
So before I begin with my journey, my startup journey, let me first tell you a little bit about my academic background. So I did my master's from IIT Delhi in the field of polymeric nanocomposites. And I was also a DART scholar, in which I spent the second year of my master's thesis in Germany. Then I came back, I completed my PhD from IIT. And I was a very happy academician. So I was very happy doing my PhD. I was very happy with the kind of research that we were doing at IIT. And I think at the very last year of PhD, we were working on antimicrobial nanocomposites. So antimicrobial technology is a technology which can resist the growth of microbes, which can kill bacteria, viruses, algae and fungi and other kind of microbes. So we were researching on antimicrobial technology for a long time during the tenure of my PhD. And at the very end, at the fag end of the PhD course, PhD tenure, I realized that all these research that was being done will just remain as a paper bound volume, or it will just be like a patent which is filed or granted, but it will not see any commercial success. So at that point of time, we realized that it is better that we step out this research from the lab, transition whatever we have done in the lab from lab scale to commercial scale. And that was the idea behind starting of this company, Nanosafe Solutions. At Nanosafe Solutions, what we have done is we have translated some bit of the research work, which was a part of my PhD thesis, into something commercial. And this was very, very important. If you look at the kind of research being done today in India at premier academic institutions like the IITs and the IIM, most of the researchers gets confined in either either in papers, in articles, or as patents. There are very few research which makes a transition from lab scale to commercial scale. And therefore, if I talk about solely antimicrobial technology, which is my forte and my domain, 90% of antimicrobial technologies which are commercially used are imported from either US or the UK. And there is no dearth of antimicrobial technologies here in India, just that it is not getting commercialized. So we took that leap, we took that very crazy step and founded Nanosafe on the basis of this antimicrobial technology.
Being a female and being in a male dominant society, you must have faced a lot of challenges also, which we cannot ignore. So what are those challenges, if you can tell our viewers what are those challenges and how did you actually manage to overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so because I did my PhD, I finished my PhD at a prime age of 30, 29-30-ish. And 29-30-ish is an age where girls are supposed to start a family, or at least carry out certain responsibilities in the family life segment. So after completion of my PhD, there was always an opportunity for me to settle back into family life, to do a 9-to-5 job as a normal PhD, after PhD, whatever somebody will do, and then carry out certain responsibilities in the family life segment, and be settled, be happy with husband, be happy with the small world that you have created around yourself. So but what I realized is that kind of life was not satisfying me. That did not have enough challenges. That was a very monotonous and very simple life. So what I decided was, no, I do not want this life, although I got a very good job offer from, so my husband at that point of time was staying in Ahmedabad. So I got a good job offer from Ahmedabad also. I was in Delhi at that point of time. So I came to Ahmedabad. I I mean, everybody around me was happy with the choice and everything, but I wanted to do something different. So that is why I took my entire family from Ahmedabad to Delhi. And it was at that point of time I also got a grant from Department of Biotechnology, which is called Biotechnology Ignition Grant. So the mandate of the grant is to make something which consists of your research and try to put it in the pilot scale, or make a prototype out of it. And it was very risky at that point of time. Nobody knew whether that startup will work or not. But I did this crazy job of uprooting my family from Ahmedabad and taking them to Delhi, where I created my workplace. So that was a very crazy thing to do. And if you find, you will always find girls or women who are centered around their man's life. So if the guy gets a job somewhere else, the the lady or the wife is supposed to follow that guy and settle in that place. I did exactly the opposite. So that was quite a challenge, but my family is supporting enough, and of course, Delhi has a lot of good opportunities as well. So all is fine right now. But then at that age, you do not exactly know whether what you are doing is correct or not. So that mental blockage or that mental barrier you have to break by yourself to go into this kind of a territory which is not you have not treated before.
Since Nanosafe Solutions is a female-led brand, female-led startup, so I want to understand from you that what are those few initiatives which you have taken to empower women at the workplace?
First of all, it's a very empowerment is a very controversial topic. Everybody is talking about it nowadays. In my opinion, I feel women do not need to be empowered at all. They are empowered by themselves. So you are trying to empower somebody who is already empowered in the first place. And let me tell you, quite a few times I find myself in a boardroom or in a meeting room or at places where I am the only female gender. But that never bothered me. What I feel is, if you're up to it, if you own what you do, if you're able to do what you are doing, it is fine. It is good enough. So you will get a place in that room where everybody else will be from the opposite gender, but you are the only person representing the female gender, and yet you are there and you are a very key decision making person in that room. So I always say that, talk about entrepreneurship, inclusive entrepreneurship, but not centered only on the female gender. We should also try to include transgender community. We should also try to entangle other sorts of people to bring a very inclusive entrepreneurship ecosystem. And I think the ecosystem is changing a lot nowadays, right? And I feel, of course, there are certain hurdles which are faced by women as opposed to men while doing an entrepreneurship. But I feel all the capable ones are actually making it out there. You look at the female-led brands out there. I think 4 out of 10 is women-led brands. You look at leadership positions around the globe today, a lot of which you will find women. So women are not really confined by their gender as of today. That is something that I truly believe, because I have seen it by myself, that if my products are up to the mark, and again, Nanosafe Solutions is doing something which is the only startup in the global community to be in a space where there are no other startups. So we deal with antimicrobial technology, and our competitors are 10-year-old, 20-year-old corporates, multinational corporates. So I have seen that if your product has is good, if your product is able to create that kind of differentiation for you, there is always market for you, there is always business for you, irrespective of your gender.
That's actually, a great thought, because we really don't need to specify the gender. We really need to move towards an inclusive society. So, coming from the business perspective and talking about your business in particular, what has been the growth of your business ever since you have founded it?
So we started with a very roller coaster ride, actually, back in 2020, and the time was lockdown one. So it was It was just when, if you can remember, our respected Prime Minister Narendra Modi came on the television and said that there is going to be lockdown for the next 2 days. That was on a Friday, and the next 2 days were locked down, and we did not know what will happen after that. And then it went into a complete lockdown stage. If you can remember, back in those times, there were very few masks in the market. So there are either so then you either would have surgical mask or a 1095 mask. There is nothing called a reusable cloth based mask, right? And the mask market was inflated at a because the supply demand chain was choked, because China was the major suppliers of this PP non-woven material, which was the raw material for making the masks, and the China border was completely closed because of COVID virus, and therefore the whole mask market was, it was a little unbalanced. Therefore, these masks were sold at a very high prices, 700, 800 rupees for one A95 mask. So it was at that point of time we realized that, being textile engineers and being polymer scientists, if we cannot make a mask which is reusable, which was the need of the hour, because people were using the mask and throwing it, disposing it in another 2 to 3 days, and that was creating a huge PP pollution as well. So we wanted to make a mask which is reusable, A, and B, we wanted to make it antimicrobial as well. So if a certain virus or microbe falls on the surface of the mask should have the capacity to deactivate it immediately. So that was the thought process. And with that, in utter lockdown, when nobody, nothing was open, no other business was open, we tried to make a mask. It was called the Nanosafe mask, which was a 50 times reusable, active copper treated antimicrobial mask with the ability to deactivate SARS-CoV-2 virus upon contact. And we launched this mask within 15 days. So from just 15 days from inception, from the idea, we launched this mask on 6th May 2020. And that is how Nanosafe started its journey with the Nanosafe mask. So why with the Nanosafe mask launch, there was a lot of media attention. There was a lot of international media attention as well, and we were able to export this mask in very large numbers to developed countries like the US, UK, Australia, Middle East, Mexico, parts of Africa as well. So it was an invention itself at a time when there was because people were not buying goods from China. So that opened up a very large market for Indians. So as a startup, we were able to fulfill that demand as much as possible. And we slowly realized that mask is being slowly fading away. After 2-3 months, September, October, the mask sale got decreased. It was then we realized that we should target B2B applications in the polymer space as well as in the textile space. So what we have done is we have formulated solutions which can go into variety of plastics, variety of polymers, as well as variety of textiles. And over the next 1 year, we have built a very solid B2B portfolio, and we positioned ourselves as a company who can turn any material into antimicrobial. So as of now, we are into many products. So for example, Astral is a very leading name in water pipes and water tank business in the western part of the country. So their water tanks inner layer is made with our technology, which is an active copper technology. Similarly, we have made antimicrobial products out of water pipes, water purifiers, automotive parts, antimicrobial foam, antimicrobial textiles, yarns, fabrics, and so on. So this is the base of our technology. Now we position ourselves as a very superior, very USP driven antimicrobial technology that can go into various kind of materials all around.
Since you mentioned about your family life, and you are a female, a married woman, and leading a successful startup also. So how do you really manage all these roles together?
My son and my startup is exactly the same age. They are just 1 month difference. So my son was born in September and we incorporated this startup in October 2019. So my son is now 3.5 years of old, and of course, with the Nanosafe journey, he also grew. So it was kind of simultaneous. And I like to believe the fact that you can get it all together. I have got it all together. Nanosafe plus my baby, it was all there together. And when we launched the NSafe mask, he was just 5 months old. And at that point of time, we were crazy busy at that point of time, of course, because we were exporting a lot and there was a lot of demand. So, but he was just 5 months old, and we were able to navigate through those times as well. Now, though, it got a lot easier because he's now 3.5, so he can manage stuff on his own. But yes, but what I believed at that point of time is. It is not very difficult, I think the mindset has been a little bit biased towards, that it is not possible to manage a family life as well as work life together. But I have seen that it is very, it's just about scheduling, it's just about planning. And if you can schedule and plan in a good way, then you can get the best of both worlds together. I mean, and there are a lot of, it's just not me, there are a lot of people who has done it, right? Look at Indra Nui. Indra Nui has such a nice family, and he is managing the whole operations of PepsiCo in such a nice way. So there are examples who are able to do it. It's just about planning, and it's just about scheduling. And also, some part of it I will also say delegating. So you also have to delegate certain tasks to certain other people around you, be it family or helps or mates. And so you're good to go.
You already have mentioned Indra Nooyi's name, but who is that one lady who has actually inspired you throughout your journey?
People like Indra Nooyi, or people like Indira Gandhi, or Kamala Harris for that matter. They have been very sharp and smart, and they have been educated, and they have been shaping a lot of economies around the world. But there is one person or one woman I really, really admire and get inspired a lot, and she's Malala Yousafzai. Why I kind of like her the most is because whatever she has done at a very young age. And at that age, it is very difficult to understand what exactly you are doing and how it will impact the rest of the world. And at a time when there was nobody, the whole country, of course, the whole country was against her to pursue any kind of education. It gets intimidating, right? She was just 15 at that point of time when that situation happened. And it was very intimidating as well, should be intimidating for her as well to continue her education. Yet against all odds, she continued that, and now she has become, of course, activist in the education sector. So that is one personality I get inspiration from a lot.
Since we are celebrating Sheprenuer Shakti and we are celebrating it for the Women's Day, I would really like to know that one message which you would like to give out to the females and to the world on the Women's Day.
So I say that women have the capacity to get it all. Some people say that, so they have devised some rules. There are 5 years of family, 5 years in career, 5 years of doing something else. I do not agree to that. I feel everything can be done simultaneously, and everything can become a success simultaneously. It's all about balance. It's all about how you divide your time. Anything which is monotonous, anything that you are doing day in and day out on a regular basis becomes monotonous. For example, you want to give your family 5 years of your time. It gets very monotonous. If you want to spend entire day at home and entire day about thinking about your family, it is very monotonous. Similarly, if you spend the entire day at office and you continuously work, it gets very boring. So there has to be a mix of both for you to thrive, for you to grow, and for your energy, for your own internal energy. And with that positivity which is built in you, which you have got from your work or your family, then only you can spread it to others. So I always say that women can get it all simultaneously at a single shot.
तो ये थी हमारी आज की शीप्रेन्योर शक्ति। इन्होंने बताया कि किस तरह से आप वक्त को सही तरह से मैनेज और राइट डेडिकेशन के साथ जिंदगी में कुछ भी हासिल कर सकते हैं। ऐसी ही अगली शीप्रेन्योर शक्ति से मिलने के लिए देखते रहिए टाइस टीवी और जाते जाते हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना ना भूलें। साथ ही स्टार्टअप की एंटाइसिंग स्टोरीज पढ़ने के लिए अभी विजिट करें www.tais.news।